In this next lesson, we're going to be using a very powerful plugin called Advanced Custom Fields, ACF. What custom fields allow you to do, extend the default WordPress post and add special fields that you can include in it. So we see did not take long for the certificate to install. We're going to look, we can search right up here and look for WA Flip. Why is it not coming up? All right, I'm just going to go this way. I'm not sure why it's not showing up there. Here, WA Flip. I think maybe because it's 2 words instead of 1. All right, so I'm going to visit this and copy the username and password. Right. Okay. Custom fields are very useful to extend the amount of data that a specific WordPress post is storing. Imagine you're building a real estate website, and by default, you want to use the WordPress post to represent real estate listings. Each post is a different house that's for sale. You might have the title already, which WordPress gives you. It's, pretty house on East 24th Street, okay? And then there's a post description, so you could put this as a very pretty house and contact us for info. What if you want to say that this house has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a garage, and a fireplace? So WordPress doesn't have that. You could manually put that in each time, which is fine. But let's say you wanted to have people sort by rooms. They only want to look at houses for sale if they have more than 4 rooms. You need that to be a separate piece of data. And ideally, to define the data as a number. That would be most powerful. And not to mention price. How much does this house sell for? That's called a field. It's a piece of data, and it gets associated with the post. By default, WordPress gives you just a few basic things like a category, a title, a description. But if you have a specific need, you can expand that with advanced custom fields. There's the creating the fields, which is going to be the advanced custom fields, and then showing them on the website, which is a separate experience. We're going to do both of those. Step 1, we're going to look for ACF, advanced custom fields. You're going to see it's an extremely popular WordPress post, 2 million active users. Install now. We activated. It's going to put a new menu item on the left, ACF. We're going to start by creating a field group. A field group is basically a group of new sections. So if I'm creating a real estate listing, property info is a group of information. Okay, so we're going to call this group info, actually. Okay, and I'm going to save that. So now we have this group. In this group, we can start adding individual fields. The name, that's going to be the post type. But then, so that's fine. We're going to leave that the same. But number of members, price is also already just handled by WooCommerce. So let's leave that separate. But now I have number of mounts, list of area codes, and the age of the group. Okay, so let's start with the easy ones. This is a type. It's going to be a number. I'm going to call this number of members. It automatically creates a more tech-friendly version with underscores, so no spaces. The default, let's say, is 0, but we could leave that blank. Okay, so that's done. There's all sorts of things you can do. Validation, make sure that you can make sure that people have included it, make it required. We can control how it looks, have conditions where it sometimes appears and sometimes doesn't. But for now, that should be enough. So we're going to close that field. Let's add another field. We're going to call this is another number, and this is called age. And this is going to be how many years this group has been around. And now this one is going to be interesting because we need multiple zip codes. I'm thinking, without more details, we might need a text area where people could just paste in a whole bunch. Or maybe just text for now, just as zip codes. So those are the 3 groups that we have. These are the additional pieces of information that we want to tag on to every WhatsApp thing, every listing. So let's save that. Now we need to decide where it's going to appear because WordPress has pages, it has posts, in WooCommerce installed, it has, different things as well. So this is where we control the location of how it appears. Post type is equal to, so we have post, page, product, and we want it to be linked only to products. Okay, so that's the only time it's going to appear. Let's look up presentation, what that looks like. You can control different place of how it appears and stuff like that. So that should be all we need. Let's save this and see what we get so far. And we're going to go and actually add this content to a sample product. I'm going to actually edit the newest one first because I think that's what Divi is going to. So if you look at the time, this is the newest one. I'm going to edit this. And look, we have this new section, a whole box called group info. And in it, we can put in that this group has 50,000 members and that it is 3 years old. And the area codes includes 102.1.4 for now. And also 77043, just because. And we're going to update the group. So now this data has been saved. And if you were to visit the database, you would show that see that it's there. But so we've taken care of a huge first step of this all. The issue is that, of course, when people design themes or plugins for designing a site, they don't know what custom fields you're going to build. And so they can't build it for custom fields. Numbers might need to look different than, letters or anything like that. So by default right now, if you visited an actual product on the site, you wouldn't see this info. Behind the scenes, this info is saved, but you don't see it. If we go over here now, it looks exactly the same. So we've got the short description showing here, but nothing else. And now, assumingly, if we have this data, we want to show this data. Now we're going to go into the Divi builder. This is the design side of it all, of how we're going to design it. So we're going to go to the theme builder. We're going to anyways make a better layout for this WooCommerce product. We're going to do that. We're going to add a new template. We're going to build it from scratch. We're going to make this apply to all WooCommerce products. So I scroll down and I create template. Now we have this. Can always be changed in the future by going to this gear and say, actually, I only want this to apply here, only apply there. But right now we're creating a custom body. That's the main content of the thing for all products specifically. Add custom body, build custom body. And now it's going to load a builder exactly if I was designing a page, but I'm not designing a specific page. I'm actually designing a template that will be used for any single product on the entire site. So it's going to be more generic and it'll apply to a wide variety of use cases. So you can see completely blank because there's no header or footer. And by default, it's trying to get me to put something. I've got a section here and I've got columns here. So the first thing to do, most products actually use 2 columns, not 1. Okay. And on the left side, I like to put the image. In this case, it would be the Woo product image. Okay. And again, it's going to be blank because it doesn't know what image is going to be, but it will populate it with the right image. You can customize that further. And on the right side, we're going to put a bunch of stuff related to WooCommerce. So if you write Woo, they give you a whole bunch of different things that we might need for the site. So let's start with a Woo product title. That's like the name of the product. And then we're going to add the Woo price. Okay. And then we're going to add, again, these are all just placeholders. It's arbitrarily putting in 75 for now. Then we're going to add, and notice, by the way, that the color is the theme-wide color that I defined that's defaulting to. Now I want to add a add to cart. So where is it called again? Yeah, Woo product add to cart, and that includes any options that might be there. I want to add the product information, Woo product description, which is actually, I believe that is the product short description by default. And now we're going to go and we're going to add, and you can change the order. So let's say I want it to be add to cart right on top here. So name, product, add to cart, and then the information about it. And now we're going to start adding those custom fields. Let's see how that goes. So we're going to actually use a default text field, just like this. And default text, typically, you would just go in and you would write, some text. Divi has this really powerful thing where you can, instead of text, you can put in placeholders. Okay. And so you would go in and this plus thing over here, and we're going to use dynamic content. And we're going to go down to custom fields, ACF group info. And these are the 3 things that we created. So now we can go in and write number of members. Okay. And before the number of members, we're going to write, let's see if we can do number of members. And that's going to, let's see how that looks. This might be specifically for HTML. So let's try that. That might not work. I may need to add individual text, because what happens as soon as you do that, it completely takes over. You can't modify anything else. It's literally just pulling the number of members. You could, of course, style it the usual way, the text. But for now, we're just going to put that in. So again, we close that. Each field is its own separate section. So I'm going to duplicate this now. I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to change it from being number of members to, okay, I don't think that's going to work. I'm going to actually have to go delete this, add content, go all the way to the bottom, put age. And let's do that one more time. Duplicate. And delete, add custom content, and area codes. All right, let's see how this goes. I'm going to save that. And One thing we're doing here too is we're overriding the default Divi, default WooCommerce behavior is it puts the content within a classic like blog post type of page. And if you notice, we actually had like a sidebar here, this sidebar. The moment we've gone and we've designed it in the full width Divi builder like this, it's actually gonna override that, and I'm gonna put it in full width. So this is a good start. I'm not sure exactly what it's gonna look like yet. Do some steps, and let's refresh. Let's see if it automatically did it, or if we need to do anything else here. Nothing else happened yet. I believe that is because we need to close this and save changes. So we have to close this and then change it there. Let's refresh now. There we go. Check this out. So we have all this is actually working. We've got the image, the name of the group, price, add to cart, the short description, which comes from the post itself. But now we have number of members, including the text, number of members, and stuff like that. So let's go back in and add just a little bit more explanation to what's going on. And maybe we can style things a little bit more too. Like let's try to make some of this bold. Let's see how that goes. In builder, we're going to call this number. We're going to say text before it's going to be age and a space. Let's make sure there's a space. Yeah, there is a space there. And let's also add here area codes, space there. And let's see if we can make this bold. Text. Let's text font size. Might make the whole thing bold, which is not exactly what I want. Text font weight, semi-bold. Save that. I think once we save it once, it should kick in those additional changes. Yeah, it does. Area code, but it looks like it made it all bold. So for now, we're going to leave it like this. And it already is a big improvement, so we've got age. Oh, this could be useful. So we're going to actually put the word 3 years afterwards. So this is a great use case for that. You can go in, hover over age, and tell it what you want to put afterwards. Age, space, years. Space is important, otherwise it would put it right next to the number. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, all right, looking great. So that's the basics for now, barring any additional stuff. You know what I like to sometimes add? I like to add, let's add something that I just experimented with recently, which is breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs allow you to easily navigate back to where you were before. So this product is where the final name is. The home text is going to go to the link, and yeah, and it'll allow people to navigate back to the main page if they want to more easily. And it adds a little bit of content to the left side of the page. So if we refresh now, we have now fantastic. This is news, meaning it's showing you all the products in that category, and then all the way left, we can go back to the home of the site. Let's just double check if there's any other settings we could modify here. Link, content. Yeah. Okay. So it always gives you both. Then we are back to the beginning. Let's try a different one. The other ones don't have the additional content, so it should probably just be empty. So it needs it. Otherwise, we don't have any conditionality. So right now it's showing that text, but it doesn't have the information. So it's not going to look good. So we have to make sure that is, and that's where we might go into advanced custom fields and, for example, define that whole thing as required and make sure that people always enter that before they're going to publish a group. Otherwise, it might not look so good. Let's see. One thing I wanted to define, ideally, if I could, is to have it display that data as with commas in it. And I'm not sure, though, if that is. Let me also try to see if we can add that data, for example, around, what is this called? Number of members. Let's call this age. Let's try to presentation, add prepend age, and then append years. Let's try just years for a second. And obviously right now with what we did, it might say years, but we can fix that easily. And it could be that displaying things any more specifically would require actual theme type of stuff. So that's something we would have to look into more. Let's save changes. Let's look at, let's go back to the homepage. Let's look at that product. No, it looks like, I don't know what that actually does, but it looks like we just have, might be just in the field area. Okay, yeah, over here, it put the word years to make it even easier, to make it clear like what this thing is. So it's mostly the user experience on that side, but as far as the front end, that gets defined on the theme side. So there you have it. We first installed advanced custom fields, designed the fields and made a whole group out of it, and then learned how to actually add those to the page with Divi. Other builders like Elementor have very similar experiences where you can dynamically pull content, and it helps you really make very powerful, customizable experiences that give a uniform design for both the people uploading the content and the people consuming the content on your website.